Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
And this is episode 167, recording live on August 1st, 2022. During our beer flight segment, we'll discuss the Rocket Mortgage Classic, follow up on some previous topics and more, some previous flight topics and more. This should be a good time. Also going to hit on some Red Wings. For our main topics, we're going to inch in closer and closer to football season, and we'll hit on some NFL and Detroit Lions news. And with the MLB trade deadline tomorrow, we will preview that as well. I will pitch a couple Dinger Tuesday bets that I have in mind, and I'll let you guys vote, and we'll decide where I put my money in our Betting Hero segment. And as we always do, we will rate and review a Michigan craft beer. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, let us know what you're sipping on and be part of the conversation. All the topics, we want to know what you guys think. We're going to touch on some interesting ones outside of the Yankees looking strong. It is important to talk about all the, we got some new contracts, there's some suspensions going on in the NFL that I think everybody kind of has an opinion on. So we want to know what you guys think about it. We'll do our best to read and reply. Before we jump in, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. DeHop's Brewing Company is the official brewery of State of My Sports. Mac Web Design helped us get our website up and running, and Betting Hero helps us and you get the best promos available in the sports betting world. I want to add another one of these. I want one for our beer. I really want to get Siciliano's back on board, or someone else. So if you guys know anybody looking to be a sponsor, just put them our way. But yeah, that's kind of my only pitch for the day. So I am Sam Walthart. With me today we got John Dornboss.
Howdy.
Micah Smith. How are you guys this week?
Good.
You guys good?
You? Yeah.
I'm good, man. I just got back from a neighbor, close friend, former teacher. You guys know Todd Johnson. He actually was on the show one time. Yeah. Believe it or not.
Kind of tall, lanky.
Yeah.
Love sports.
I think it was his and his wife's 30th anniversary this week.
Nice.
Or today, actually. So
congrats to them.
Yeah, it was just a small little party, but it was fun. We got to play a little 1992 trivia, which I can't believe is 30 years ago. 1992 is 30 years ago? You kidding me? That's not okay. That's not okay. I don't like that at all.
Welcome to getting old.
But yeah, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's crazy to think about. Like what is it? The 50s, 2050 are closer than 1990 or something like that.
Basically.
Yeah, like that's a weird way to look at it. It'll be 30 years from now. It'll be 1952. Right? Am I doing my math right? 30 years ago was 1992.
That's scary.
So it was like that's crazy to think about. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to think of those things.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty scary.
I'm a day at a time kind of guy. Right? I don't like to plan the future or look too far back at the past. I don't really remember 92. I was 4. I don't really have too many fond memories.
So he did a quiz for like that was stuff that happened in 1992, and I did fairly well. I was surprised. So he had like one like what was the famous Michael Jackson music video? I got that one right. There was who was the one Tigers All-Star in the 1992 season? You guys have any guesses?
Bobby Higginson?
You got this?
I got it right. Ryan didn't, which I was pretty pumped that I got it.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie.
I have no idea.
Kirk?
No. So the hint was it was not Cecil Fielder. Cecil Fielder made it the year before and the year after, but there was one player, and I was so pumped that I got it because I was like, man, it's got to be this guy. And Ryan was like, no, I forget who he said. I think he said he thought it was Mickey Tettleton was his guess. Travis Fryman, and I nailed it with Travis Fryman.
Serious?
Yeah.
Travis Fryman.
I was pretty pumped about that one. Another question he had was...
Did you Google it with like your phone between
your
legs?
I didn't. No, I was thinking about my grandma and grandpa's Sega video game. Like, all right, who was on that game? What was the lineup?
Nice.
And then I just like it had to be Fryman because Fryman was one of my favorites on that video game. So I don't know. That was my guess, and I got it right. I was pretty pumped about that. Another one was 30 years ago was the the Dream Team, the original Dream Team.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, how many of those players can you name?
Oh, wow.
And I did not do very well on that. Ryan did really good on that one.
I probably could have gave a good run there. How many did he get, did he say?
Ryan got, so there was, I think, 12 total, or maybe it was 14. 14 or 12 total, but I think Ryan got maybe 10? 9 or 10?
Dream Team. Yeah, that team was stacked.
Yeah, it was really good. But then there was another one, like, man, what was it? There was one that was interesting, but, like, who was the prince and princess that got married that year or something like that? It was Princess Diana and Prince Charles, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I got that one right. I was proud of that one. But yeah, I don't know. It was just fun. It was a fun little trivia, and I don't know how I did. I don't know if I won or not, but hopefully Andrea brings home a trophy because she's still there. But you never know. But
How many trophies has that woman held?
I don't know.
You should know.
I mean, she holds me every night, and I'm a trophy husband.
Hey.
Oh, trophy husband.
Trophy husband. Husband of the year over here. I'm humble, too, which is nice.
We need a second opinion on that.
Yeah, well, what did Jarrett just say? It looks like Sam's looking good, right? Is that what he said? So that's all it needs to end there, right?
I like that jacket.
It's just a T-shirt.
With the orange collar.
It's a T-shirt. Is he teasing me?
Wow,
What is he talking about?
I think he's calling me a young, cracked-out John McElroy. Was it McEnroe?
McEnroe?
Yeah.
John with the headband?
The headband.
That does look nice.
Man, I hate tennis, but I could go out there and yell at the ref.
I love tennis, man.
Yeah.
You don't like tennis?
I played a few times back
How do you
in the
like
day,
golf
but-
and not tennis?
Oh, man, golf is my thing.
Yeah.
Played a lot this weekend, too.
Yeah, how'd you do?
I played in a 4-man scramble out at Western on Sunday.
Was this the one with Shane and Brian that you're talking about? Or
No, that was 2 weekends ago.
How'd that one go?
We didn't pan out too well. We all had holes where we weren't contributing at all.
Yeah.
Maybe some on the team had more of those holes than others.
You're not calling anybody out,
I'm
right?
not calling anybody out. Wait,
Is he a listener or is he on the show?
Hold on. Shane was doing his job. Like, he was doing well. He was still hitting the ball. But
that
it was
means
caught.
Brian.
No, Brian was doing well. We all carried. I had a lot of nice bomb drives. I couldn't hit a wedge within 70 yards, close, and then we had long birdie putts that just weren't dropping.
Yeah.
Kaufman Golf Course doesn't have a liquor license. Bring your own beer.
Ooh. That's probably a bad idea.
I don't know if Shane brought any.
Oh, really?
And then I think he got one from a guy on the other team that we were playing with. And then, we played 3 of his shots in a row. I was like, dude, we needed that on, hole 2.
Yeah. Why didn't you bring your own beer?
Yeah, not hole 14. So,
jeez.
But, yeah, it was, still a good time. Kaufman's in great shape. If anybody's in the Grand Rapids area, good place to go play. They had it prepped for this. They had the senior amateur, West Michigan amateur this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So everything was rolling
really
so
nice
fast.
Yeah.
Cups were sharp. Tee boxes, everything, good lies, except for where we hit a few drives. But
that's good. How was this past weekend?
Yeah, it was a 4-man scramble. It's what the Westerns calling their first annual member guest outing. So every member had to bring a guest.
Okay, and I wasn't invited. If I remember correctly.
I wasn't allowed to pick my guest. It was the guy that signed up the team and asked me to be the second member. He had 2 guests already in line, so just got to play. But played a lot of my shots. Won one of the proxies that they had out there on hole 2. It was
nice. Closest
to in your second shot, and I hit a bomb drive. I was 40 yards out, and I stuck one 2 inches from the cup.
Oh, nice.
Tapping birdie.
What'd you win?
Just a $25 gift card to the course.
Nice.
I'll probably use it in the clubhouse for a nice margarita, or they're good with their Bloody Marys.
Are they?
Yeah. So sometimes I stick with it.
We still got to get out there with you. I
Yeah,
haven't golfed yet this year.
Funny you say that. The owner, before the outing, he was like, "Hey, I remember telling you that I was going to get you. I got to get you those." And I was like, "Yeah, man, the season's almost over.
Right?
No better time than right now."
Yeah.
So.
Are they looking to sponsor any podcasts or anything like that?
Maybe in the future.
Maybe.
I know that he's having a really good year this year.
Is he? Good for him. No, it's awesome.
Double booked with outings on the weekends, and
I think that's one of the best outing courses, Western. I love doing outings there.
Yeah, you can play pretty quick. It's a pretty open course. You can move along pretty well.
Yeah.
It's not difficult and it's not easy. It's kind of in between, but lays out pretty nice. We played from the blues, but it was a good time. Yeah, I drove a couple par 4s, felt great, hit the ball good. Playing in a 2-man best ball tournament this weekend.
Okay.
It's Saturday and Sunday.
All right.
You get flighted after day 1, so
There's
a lot of money in the skin spot this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
See the Eagle.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
For sure. Mike, how's your week, man?
It's good. Good.
Anything special going on?
This week?
Are you allowed to talk about what you're doing, or are your kids listeners?
Yeah, we told the kids. Max started figuring it out.
All right.
Because he started figuring it out with Carrie's work schedule.
Okay.
Because it's been set for forever. And Max is like, what's going on? We're like, all right, buddy. Do you want to go on a road trip? He goes, yeah. And Sloan, like, perks up in the car. And she's like, me too. And I'm like, okay, well, where do you guys want to go? Like, what's the place you guys keep talking about? And like, oh, we want to go back to Lambeau. And Sloan's like, Titletown. And I'm like, all right, we'll do it Thursday then. They're like, yeah. So we're going to take the kids back up to Green Bay.
Do they really call it Titletown?
Yeah.
Really? Because you only get one title per Hall of Fame quarterback? Is that what it is? Is that how? So it's titles.
It's legally
leading
13,
Titles town.
something like that.
Okay.
But no, we're gonna take the kids up there Thursday and then spend the whole weekend there. Come back Sunday night, and that's what we got going.
Sweet.
So,
We'll be back for the podcast at DeHop's.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's all I care about.
Monday or Tuesday?
Monday. It'll be Monday next week.
To
right?
Monday.
Is that all right? Or would you rather go Tuesday?
We
can do either.
I was
honestly.
thinking that Taco Tuesday they got.
Well, it's closed this Tuesday.
Oh.
Wait,
What?
This Tuesday's closed. Next Tuesday will be open. We can maybe you guys. We'll talk about that off air. Maybe we'll switch to the next Tuesday if you guys want to. We'll figure it out. Ryan will be gone either way, so he's going to Denmark. So good for him.
Classic.
But let's get into what we're drinking tonight. We're drinking a staple here in West Michigan. Really a staple in the country. This is one of the biggest
A variation staple.
like the founders in general is like
the brand.
the craft brewery basically in all of Michigan and really in the country. I mean, it's huge and it's outside of everywhere else. So everybody knows Founders. They don't need to explain it to you. But what we're drinking is it's all day Vacay. So obviously they've always had all day IPA. Great beer.
Yep.
Very, very big. Like here, I mean, one of the
It's their
highest
flagship beer.
yeah. Well, I don't say flagship. Is it? Flagship's like your first one, right? Isn't that what flagship means?
is your main one.
Okay. I thought flagship was like the original one that they came out with. So I would say like if you talk to Founders Brewers, they would say their Centennial's their flagship IPA, right? Is my guess. And then All Day is like I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You call it what you want.
Call it whatever you want. But All Day IPA is obviously a very popular one. But today we're drinking All Day Vacay. So I think this is year 2 of All Day Vacay, or maybe year 1.5 type thing. Fairly new beer, but it's a session wheat ale. Nothing really to explain about this one. I mean, it's a session wheat, 4.6% alcohol by volume. It's
not going to bite you back.
It's not going to. Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. It's very simple, very good, very easy to drink so far. That's basically where I'm at. Well, maybe we'll pull up a little more information about it during our beer grades.
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
Before we jump into our DeHop's Beer Flight segment, I want to remind everyone that DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is serving incredible food and pouring some of the best craft beer in West Michigan. Chef Dan's revamped food menu and head brewer Ben's rotating taps, wine, and ciders make DeHop's perfect for whatever you have going on. From dinner with the family, late night drinks with friends, and everything in between, the Ben and Dan duo is putting a ton of their time and energy. Did I already read that part? Is putting a ton of their time and energy at making DeHop's a staple in the West Michigan restaurant community that we highly recommend to our friends and listeners. They have Taco Tuesday, Stein Night Wednesday, Thursday, any burger and beer for $15, which is softball night, which is nice, along with some unbelievable specials on Fridays and Saturdays. We highly recommend following them on Instagram and Facebook, where they share their weekly specials and some incredible food and beer pictures that will make your mouth water. DeHop's is the official brewery of State of My Sports in 2022. And if you mention State of My Sports, you'll get a discount off your first beer. So without Ryan today, we might move through this pretty quick. Our flight segment, right? I'm just gonna. I'm a little bitter. I'm a little bitter. All right. It was funny the way that worked. And you guys know me. I love Ryan. I'm not trying to call him out, but I think our listeners need to know. I text pretty early, hey, is everybody in tonight? No response. I texted again, Ryan, are you in? And then I think it was at what? I looked at the time. I think it was 5:59 or 5:39. He said, "Yes, I will be there," but late. 29 minutes later, no, I'm not gonna make it. I was like, "What the?"
Oh, come on.
All right, so I had everything
man.
set up. I had to readjust everything, but I mean, look, no big deal. I get it. Life happens. I just hope he enjoys his next 2 weeks off from as well when he's in Denmark.
Well, before we get too far in the flight subject.
Yeah, sorry, I just zoomed right through
subjects. Jarrett is drinking a Kona Big Wave.
Kona Big Wave. I'm not sure what that is. We need more information about that,
I'm
Jarrett.
gonna look it up.
Sounds like Kyle's had it. He said it's really good. It's like a 9.0.
Oh,
I don't know
jeez.
if that's like
So we're gonna have jokester Jarrett by the end of this episode.
Yeah, he's already started. And then Carrie is also a shout out to DeHop's.
Oh, nice.
Sipping on the Thirsty Miner.
Thirsty Miner. Oh, solid.
Miner.
Yeah.
Not Minor.
All right.
Minor might be a problem drinking a beer from DeHop's.
That's a great
the
point.
Thirsty Miner.
Yeah, you can't have that. So that one's actually named after the Mines Golf Course, where the owner is, I believe, a member, and they brewed this beer specifically for the.
Very
And then they sell it in the brew house, obviously. But
Kyle's disappointed he never got a message to be on the show tonight.
yeah, for sure. I'm sure you are, Kyle. 'Cause
Oh, so
he definitely was invited. But
the
what?
Kona Big Wave you can get at Meyer.
Okay.
It looks like it's $9 for a 6-pack, and the Kona Brewing Company is out of Hawaii.
Whoa. Okay.
So shipped here. I don't know how fresh it is.
Jeez. I
I
wonder
mean,
if they're like connected to a different brewery that allows
Possibly.
them to,
brew here.
brew here, but still have the label there in Hawaii, like kind of like Perrin does and stuff like that. So, but you have more
Which is
information?
a pretty cool story.
The Perrin one.
Someday we'll get into that.
Yeah, we should record there and get into the details of all that kind of stuff. But what do you guys want to talk about today? I think John, you want to start us off with a couple things you want to mention here?
Yeah, just two quick ones real quick. First, the world lost a good one over the weekend. Outside of sports, a better person than he was a basketball player. But Bill Russell passed away. Arguably one of the greatest players of all time. I feel like his name gets lost in the conversation of GOAT between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Unfortunately, I don't think either of those guys will pull off what Bill Russell pulled off outside of the court, and neither of them can stack up when it comes to being the most decorated player of all time.
Yeah, is it 11 titles?
11-time NBA champion, won 2 NCAA titles. He also won 2 titles as a player coach for
Straight
the
up
Celtics
winner.
as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, winner, and there were some stats in basketball that weren't kept when he was playing. One of them was the block shot, which Hakeem Olajuwon will go down as the greatest shot blocker of all time. And they've interviewed guys that played in that era, and he easily could have averaged about 5 blocks a game throughout his entire career.
Yeah.
Again, a stat that wasn't really taken into consideration until after the fact. So that's an accolade that he'll never, be able to hold in the stat book. But again, he was a bigger person outside of the gym, off the court, than he was even on the court. Pure dominance in all aspects of life. And I could go over all of the accolades again of his career: 5-time MVP, defensive first team, lifetime achievement award in 2017. All-American. I mean, again, his basketball days were pure dominance.
Isn't that crazy? Like, wouldn't you consider being, like a 5-time MVP back in those days a much more highly touted accolade? Because we have social media these days. We have popularity contests, right? We just have the name. And I feel like back then it was a true consensus MVP vote.
Yeah, it wasn't like I'm gonna vote for my guy
or,
type thing.
Right, right. I think it's a bigger deal back then than it is today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the voting process has changed over the years, and like you said, it turns more into a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Lack of a better term.
Yeah, I mean, there's still bigs in the NBA that win those awards now, but for a long time it was the guys that were transcendent in the game. there won't be another Bill Russell.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. 11 titles, that's something you just don't hear of. To carry his game from college to the NBA, played in an era where civil rights were being, obviously hashed out in the present, in the late 50s through the 70s. And again, he was an activist for social justice.
Yeah.
And, I've listened to a lot of interviews of people that have gotten the opportunity to either play against, for, with, or have gotten to know. And again, just a great human being. And again, the world, but the NBA world lost a great this weekend.
It seems like the only time he really gets mentioned is when a LeBron fan wants to argue back, like, well, like if you have the Jordan LeBron argument, and then you have one going after another. Well, Jordan has this many titles. Well, he doesn't even have the most. Does that make Russell the greatest? And then they bring up Russell. What it's like, sounds like he was actually one of the greats before even MJ changed the game, right?
Yeah, and again, we're always going to go back to this era of basketball. What eras could win now, and what could win back then, and vice versa. It's a popular topic in NBA conversations because, well, there's a lot of downtime when the season's not going on. But of recent years, there's been a lot of criticism of the re-released, NBA top 50, top 75 teams. And again, there's a handful of names that get mentioned every time, the greatest player of all time is brought up, from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Michael Jordan to Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, LeBron James. I'm going to throw Kobe in there. Bill Russell, I feel like, is always kind of in the back of the pack. And but if you want to go off of stats and trophies on the wall alone, nobody's going to touch the guy. But I'll transition to the second topic real quick.
Yeah.
Local, the Rocket Mortgage PGA event was held this weekend in Detroit.
And it sounds like it got a lot of accolades. Like, people were talking pretty highly of the city and just the tournament in general.
Absolutely,
which is awesome to hear.
Seems to be a pretty popular hosting area and event. The course is always player friendly for these guys. They make courses look real easy all across the world. So coming up to Michigan, it's a little bit different style of golf, and probably one of my favorite players on tour, and has been for a few years now. Tony Fenow got the win, back-to-back wins on the tour. It's kind of one thing that's been evading him his whole career is he's always in contention in 2 to 3 days. Or he's out of contention early and has a stellar Saturday or Sunday that gets him back up into the top 10. Never been able to close out that door. It's good to see him get a couple wins. He's just a stand-up guy, class act, hits the ball far. I've always had a soft spot for him because he played in not a Pro-Am, but prior, I believe it was the Masters.
Okay.
And he hit a hole in one, and it was a practice round. And he celebrated by jogging up the fairway, and he rolled his ankle.
Yeah.
And he popped it back into place and still played the rest of the weekend.
Okay, I didn't realize that was him. I remember that story. I just didn't.
And it was one of the nastiest, should have been career-ending injuries you'll ever see. And for him to just
in
get
golf.
up, yeah, well, exactly too, like a freak accident.
Yeah.
I've suffered one myself in recent years, so it's again just kind of a good thing to see him chalk up a couple victories. And he's one of those guys that probably deserves to win a major one of these days.
Yeah, people were talking about it, especially on Detroit radio and stuff. And I hate going back to the Live Golf and PGA comparison and stuff like that. But they were talking about how good that the field actually ended up being. And I don't know the names and the rankings and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like that could be where the PGA could kind of take control of take back control of what they want, is don't let these players have a choice to opt in or opt out of these tournaments. Maybe scale back on the amount, and I don't know how many they do, so I'm just throwing this out there. I'm kind of spitballing here as a non-golf fan, but it's make these guys do it. If they're going to be part of the PGA Tour, you are required, and give them maybe 4 opt-outs a year or something like that. I don't know the number. I don't know how many they do, but make it so the Rocket Mortgage Classic doesn't have a bad field one year, and then maybe it's ended up being a pretty good field type thing. Get rid of that, and then it will make the tournament in Detroit that much better. It'll make the small tournaments all around that much better because you have guys playing, even if the pot's not big enough for the purse. It's well, still, who cares? This is
1.5 mil.
I mean,
to come to Detroit and play on an easy course. He shot 26 under on 4 days. You know,
like let's see
record
that.
low for that tournament.
And let's see Rory Mcilroy playing this. Let's see like the big names. Like, why do they have a choice to just pick and choose when they want to play?
I think a lot of it too, especially with these tournaments, they're getting further away from home. A lot of these golfers are living down south, on the coast, warm weather areas where they can play year round. And depending on where the majors fall, the Rocket Mortgage is usually a hangover tournament for some of these guys. But hopefully, again, like you said, the more bigger names that come and big names that win are going to draw a bigger purse, and it's going to draw hopefully bigger golfers. Will Zalatoris, Patrick Cantlay, I mean, some of these guys are in the top 15 in the world.
They're names that people are starting to learn, but don't really necessarily like are a draw yet, I feel like. You know, they're the names that's like, oh, I wonder how this guy finished. I wonder how. You're not going to sit and watch or pay to go, you know what I mean, to boost those ratings, and then you just kind of, it's just an afterthought. Be like, oh, I wonder who won this or how my favorite players kind of did.
Yeah,
you know?
I think John Rahm has won it too. Like, he came here. Yeah. And that was a big name at the time because he was climbing up into the top ranking in the world. But yeah, good for Tony. You know, good for Rocket Mortgage and the city of Detroit hosting a good, solid tournament
for sure. Mike, I want to do yours last, so I'm gonna quickly talk about mine. Pretty short. It was just something that I saw on the Athletic that kind of popped up, and I was like, that's kind of interesting. So, and this is probably the most boring thing for most of the people on this podcast, so I'll just try to zoom through it. But there was a quote or an article basically that was talking about Buffalo tried to move ahead of Detroit just to take Marco Casper, who the Red Wings ended up getting. Kevin Allen of Detroit Hockey Now. For those that often wonder about this is what he wrote. Sorry, I should probably say that. This is for those often wonder about the trades that do not happen. Kevin Allen unearths this little gem. Yes, the Buffalo Sabres tried to swap draft spots with the Detroit Red Wings. This was to, in effect, try and draft Marco Casper. The hot tip actually goes to George Malik, longtime Detroit Red Wings blogger. One has to understand that Detroit drafted 8th and Buffalo 9th, so they wanted to move up one spot specifically to take Casper. It was not as if Kevin Adams was going to offer a king's ransom to move one spot. In the end, the Detroit Red Wings drafted Casper and Buffalo picked Savoy,
Matthew Savoy.
All right. However, no one can deny the allure of what ifs, and I just thought it was interesting because, look, where the Red Wings were at what was it, 8? Is that what I read there? I believe that's what it was. 8th overall. Like, we weren't going to dig into a lot of names. And we weren't going to, like, circle, oh, I want this guy at 8. Like, that's just not the way the NHL draft works. It's really not.
If you weren't in the top 2, then you're right.
But one thing that we've run into is, oh, Yzerman likes this guy. We just got to trust him, right? And we're just kind of going to it blindly. Nobody else seemed to like Cider pick when they did. Nobody really – the Raymond pick was somewhat touted, but everybody was like, oh, it seems like a little bit of a reach, and look how smart Yzerman's been. Same thing with Edmondson that's coming up here next year. But this one is we're seeing it a little bit earlier than usual. It's not like after like 3 years later, oh, they probably should have went up and got Casper earlier or something like that. But this is actually like someone said Marco Casper was wanted by another team. I mean, Buffalo Sabres, what is that going to do? Get me all excited that the Sabres wanted Marco Casper? No, but it's just
it makes you grin.
Different. Yeah, it's just like, no, all right, we got who we wanted, and Yzerman was like, no, screw you, this is who we want. So I like that. It just got me thinking hockey. You know, like it's been a quiet couple days or couple weeks really since free agency opened, and it was just like it caught my eye. And it's just something to keep an eye on. Like if this guy becomes legit, like maybe never a superstar, but a good NHL center.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff that's going to be like Yzerman. Again, like just he knew better. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants. He knows who he wants well before it even starts unfolding. And it just got me thinking more about hockey and just the Larkin Bertuzzi saga. Like they're both RFAs. They're both going into their final year. So is Bertuzzi going to be moved? What's going to happen with their Larkin? They're saying they're trying to get this new deal done. What is the hang up? When are these things supposed to start to unfold? Zadina's an RFA. I mean, there's still plenty of time. I'm not going to stress about it, but we're 57 days from our first preseason game, which is a week and a half usually after camp opens, like this stuff
It's going to come quick.
This stuff needs to be nailed out here soon. And I mean, I'm not putting a timer on Yzerman or anything like that, and I'd be all right with moving Larkin instead of giving him a new deal. But I mean, you guys know that. But I mean, it's just kind of something to keep an eye on. And
let's not get too crazy on giving Larkin a max deal.
Yeah, I agree with that. The longer it goes, the more I'm just like, why? Is Yzerman? Does he love him? Does he love Larkin as much as he's supposed to love Larkin? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just again something to keep an eye on.
Good question.
I'm sure it'll kind of unfold here in the next couple weeks, and we'll start hearing a little more whispers and stuff. But Mike, you want to talk some NFL stuff?
NFL.
So what happened today?
Well, what's been happening? It's been heard worldly right now is the Deshaun Watson suspension. That was kind of a tongue twister. So he was handed down a 6-game suspension today. And so right now the way it kind of pans out, the way they set Deshaun up from the Cleveland side of things, because his 6 games will not be paid, but the Browns structured his new contract so his base salary is $690,000. That's it for the first year, and then $46 million for each of the next 4 years. So, genius on their part, getting the money set up because they knew the impending doom of what was coming down the pipeline. But I want to get into more of like we kind of talked about Deshaun like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, whatever it was. But is this kind of fit the crime, the alleged crime? It's was he guilty, or is it still just 30 accusations that have never panned out? And where are we sitting? I mean, I would assume that he's been found guilty. He's just been handed a 6-game suspension.
So, guilty is the tough word. It sounds like he hasn't been found guilty. It's all been settled. What's that word I can't think of? Somebody help me.
Boy.
It's all been settled, basically. It was a settlement civil suit. So It wasn't like, oh, you are guilty. It was more or less like, look, we could battle this out all day long. Let's just settle on a number and go from there.
Okay.
That's what it sounds like has happened. From what I've heard, there's one suit that's still out there that hasn't been settled out of court or whatever. So that's still looming, and I find that to be pretty interesting. But let's focus on what we do know.
Right.
The 6-game suspension, what is that, like $230,000? So a third of the season for $690.
Yep.
I think I did my math right. I didn't want to guarantee it, but I mean, that's such a small amount.
It's a drop
for what happened, and the suspension. I think we got to talk about we can't undo what Cleveland did. They were smart with the way they lined up their contract.
Oh yeah,
they did him really really well. They did him good, I guess, if you will. Which I don't know if that makes you guys nervous or not, but 6-game suspension seems light. Is that where you're at?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Like in a lot of the comparisons,
like
the Calvin Ridley
one, it just
Tom
blows
Brady.
my mind.
I mean, Ray Rice assaulted one girl.
Yeah.
And his career was over.
Yeah.
Not saying Deshaun Watson assaulted all 30 of these women.
Yeah.
But he's got a problem.
Yeah.
Big time.
And that problem spans far beyond 6-game suspension.
I agree. The 6 games are. It seems very low, but I think we also got to take into consideration last year. Yeah, it wasn't a suspension. Yeah, he was getting paid, but he sat out all of last year due to what was going on. I don't know if that played a role in it. I'm guessing not, just because of the way the NFL works. But we also got to keep in mind that this was not the NFL doing the suspension. This wasn't the NFL Players Association doing the suspension. This was a arbitrator.
A
third party made this decision, and it was a woman judge, I think. It was like the NFL did it right. Like, they're like, no, we don't want anything to do with this. We don't want to make this decision because it's a lose-lose for them. Right? And I feel like that's what I look at this, is it was a win for both sides. So good. And by both sides, I'm going to stick to the sports side. It was a win for Deshaun Watson and his camp. It was a win for Cleveland Browns, and it was a win for the NFL. Because what the NFL can do is be like, oh, we're disappointed with it. We wanted a full year. And Deshaun Watson's side can be like, well, we didn't want anything. Like, we don't deserve that, any suspension. And now here they are, like, 6 games, whatever.
Right.
Wasn't our choice. We can wipe our hands with it. Let it settle. It's going to take 2 days for this to be old news. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Jimmy
Right.
Garoppolo is going to get traded, and probably I'm sure there was like I think there's a clock that Roger Goodell has. He's like, all right, you got to have him traded in 2 days so we can get rid of this news, and it'll just be old news. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
Sweep
they
it
always
under
do
the
that.
rug.
They're like, all right, we will pay you to just get this done and make this the new news. And
Yeah.
I think there's just going to be bigger news, whether it's positive news, negative news, or just big news in the NFL that just pushes it aside. Everybody's going to move on, wash their hands nice and clean. Now, is it fair for what he did? No, I don't think so. For what he did, he should be in prison for a very long time, if that's what he actually did. But here we are. We got to stick to prove guilty or innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
They've
right.
settled, let's just say 29 of the 30. I think all but one, whatever the number is. I can't keep track.
There was only a handful of instances that went into the consideration of this arbitrator.
Okay.
And of those instances, there was nothing illegal, right?
Yeah,
Nothing that could cause any more than the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
It's what he did with the other cases. Did he pay off people? You know, those things, a lot of things were settled before he
Right.
even got to the arbitrator.
Right.
There's a lot of things that still need to be brought to light. The Houston Texans, they have to be
Their side
somewhat
of it,
responsible. I still think that, well, the Players Union has implemented things and voted on things to remove any of those authoritative powers from Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear Roger. I want to hear him, and I want to hear him mention the idea of appealing the 6 games
Yeah, so
and
that's
suspending the guy for the whole year.
that has been talked about. Is the NFL going to appeal this themselves? Usually it's the NFL puts down the suspension, the Players Association appeals. Something must have been leaked that Deshaun Watson's camp said, whatever the arbitrator says, we're going to stick with it and we're good with it. So they probably already knew the actual suspension. Now, I agree with you in a lot of ways. I think it would be good for the NFL and Goodell to be like, no, we're going to appeal this and let's dig into it a little further. I think that would be for optics, I think that's good. But at the same time, like, if I was the NFL, I'd be like, nope, this was our first time letting it go to an arbitrator or whatever you want to call it, a third party.
Yep.
Let's trust that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for Goodell and NFL to be like, okay, we trust our third party, and that's what it's going to be. And it kind of sets the new standard of it's not going to be a 6-game suspension so you can get it. And I'm just using an example, like a 6-game suspension for you to, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word. Challenge it, but not challenge. Appeal. Sorry.
Appeal.
And like it just can continue to be an appeal back and forth. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
the next time, let's say the NFL has a heavy hammer, and someone wants to appeal. You know what I mean? Like, just let this be the new standard of the third party makes a decision. Both parties are good with it. You move on and call it good. Now, the ones that are still out there, I wonder if more comes. Can it add on to it? Like, can that change everything? That, I think, is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, and if any of the accusations, if any of these massage parlor workers, want to reopen a case, what does that do? I think it's there's so many angles of this too that are interesting because Deshaun Watson wanted to go to a warm weather football team, and he settled with Cleveland. They gave
Okay.
him the biggest upfront money,
Yep.
the biggest contract. I know Deshaun Watson had a couple of huge years in Houston, but I feel like overnight he went from being average quarterback to like the top
Top three.
three.
Yeah, a lot of people are telling you top three.
Huge fantasy numbers, right? But was in Houston. So now he goes to Cleveland, low expectations, a franchise similar to Detroit's that has had a lot of, we'll say, friction and lack of leadership from above in recent years. It's cold, and maybe we won't see much of him the next couple of years, and he'll be one of those 23 quarterbacks they've had since 1994 or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I don't wish bad on the guy, but I wish he got a full year suspension.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense for that. But I think they also got to keep in mind that he sat out the whole last year. That's kind of the thing. But
if it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. Hot, hot! This is State of My Sports.
So I did want to get into some Detroit Lions talking what's going on in camp. So really, I just have some quotes. That's basically all we can get when we're talking about camp. I'm not nerdy enough to sit and watch the live streams of this stuff and someone's cell phone camera. Like that just doesn't do me any good because I feel like I'm watching the smallest part of the story. You know what I mean? Like
you'll have
watch,
Hard Knocks too.
Yeah, and oh man, I cannot wait for that. But I found some quotes over the last few articles that I've read that I thought were pretty interesting and stuff that's coming out of camp. And I want to start with DJ Chark, and this was talking about just the culture here in Detroit. He said, "It's bigger than me here, bigger than myself. I like how these guys come to work every day, the professionalism around this building. One thing I appreciate about these guys, they're never in the media focusing on being listed as a top 10 or ESPN or anything like that. All we talk about is a standard we're trying to set for each other." And it sounds like it was a part of a conversation comparing it to what he dealt with a lot last year in Jacksonville with the whole Urban Meyer stuff. And it felt like a little shot at him. He's like, yeah.
Complete dysfunction.
Right? Yeah, just complete dysfunction. And, all right, Lions better organization than Jaguars in the last 2 years. Yes or no? Yes. Like nobody, like this isn't a massive shock. If you go from the Jags to anywhere, you're gonna have this type of opinion. So I'm not like pumping the Lions tires in this manner, because I feel like anybody could do that. You know what I mean? Like anybody would be better than the Jags in this scenario. But it is nice to hear, and I he's an intriguing piece that I'm interested to see how he develops and what exactly happens because he's not like a guaranteed playing time type guy. Like he signed a $10 million deal 1 year, so it's a show me deal, but it's like he's got to compete with Josh Reynolds, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams when he comes in. He's got to perform for him to be a piece and get a new contract. Like this is a big time for him, big opportunity, and it's nice to hear just the fact that he believes that the Lions are in the right direction. And in this opinion, in these quotes and stuff, it sounds like he's talking about the regime. It sounds to me like he's talking about the coach in the way that they're going. They're not pretending to be somebody they're not. They're just going out there and taking care of business. And I love to hear that because the previous regime for the Lions, it seemed like you had a ton of arrogance on the other side. You had Bob Quinn, who tried to be the smartest man in the world. You had Patricia, who is the smartest man in football, but just not a good coach. It's like all of those things, like it didn't go so well. So it's nice to just hear that with all of the stigma around is Campbell a good coach? It doesn't seem like he cares. It doesn't seem like they care. They're looking at this as they are truly working together, and it's not my way or the highway in any way, shape, or form. And I love to hear that. But, I mean, again, day one of camp or week one of camp. Look, I'm just passing on quotes. I'm not saying that this is a new Lions. I'm not saying that this is a sign of things to come, anything like that. It's just nice to hear. Not that anybody's going to say anything negative.
Yep.
Another thing that I thought was pretty positive was the Hill. So for the people that don't pay too close of attention to the Lions, the Hill was built by Matt Patricia. It was a punishment tool. It was a demand that you have to go run this hill as for extra work and all that kind of stuff. And there was an interesting quote here from holy smokes, I can't. Charles Harris, I believe it was, talking about this hill and the way it's being utilized. So I do have a quote here. It says, it was the leader. So basically referencing these guys after practice running the hill as a group, as a defensive line. So it was the leaders of the group, me, Brock, who's Michael Brockers, obviously. Every single day we'll do something 1% better every single day. After practice, conditioning-wise, there's no way you can prepare for football at camp in the summer. No matter what you do, how many up-downs, you do, how many grassers you do. You can't prepare for actual football. We all know that. So we take it upon ourselves to make sure we do something every single day post-practice to ensure our cardio and conditioning, just strengthening the technique. So I thought that was, I mean, it was just cool to see leaders taking control and kind of setting a standard, something new in Detroit, because that hill had such a bad stigma when Patricia was running it. You know, like you had guys that were just like, no, screw that, screw you, screw the hill, and it was looked at as a negative. And when it was designed for a positive, it was a design to be there to put in that extra work, to do something that nobody else did. We actually did that at Edinburgh when we played hockey. We ran to a hill, we went up and down that thing constantly, over and over again. And it sucked, but it was, I mean, that was the year we made nationals and all that stuff, or the national championship. It was a big deal. Like, it makes a difference, that extra work, that doing something that nobody else is doing. That, I think, is a mental thing just as much as a physical thing.
I'd be all for it if Matt Patricia was joining me in that run up and down that hill.
I don't think he did. He took his four-wheeler.
Yeah, these players didn't like that guy because he was walking around with a bent crutch and he wasn't even leaning on it, and he had that stupid unsharpened pencil in his ear and out of shape, just ate his way through Detroit. And
it's funny you say that.
A respect thing, too. Like, Dan Campbell's probably getting up on that hill,
I'm sure
with these boys, and he's probably pushing most of them up there.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I remember Ryan, bringing that up pretty early in the Patricia tenure, was like, how do you trust that guy? Like, look, I'm not in good shape. I know a lot of people that are in bad shape, and I'm not calling people out that are in bad shape, but when you're demanding hard work and all of that stuff, from these physical specimens on a football field, you don't have to put in the work, but you better be ready to if they're going to question you. You know what I mean? And if you can't take care of yourself, why would they trust you to take care of them?
Put down the Detroit style pizzas, Matt.
Right, you know what I mean?
No,
I think
I totally get it. Don't let your physical self go in the wrong direction when all you do is sit there and preach hard work and stay in shape, and we're going to win. Your players look at you, Matt Patricia, and you go, you're losing. You're not winning. You were just gaining weight. You are not, part of this team. They laugh at you, and they didn't respect you. That's where it went.
Yeah.
Lost all respect for you as a coach, your staff that was under you. It was a joke.
Yeah, that regime was an absolute joke, and any regime will look like flowers compared to them. It really will. That was really, really bad. But I don't know. It's just it sounds different. Everything sounds different, and it's a pleasant surprise. I did want to get into a couple of the battles here, and then I do have a clip from Jamal Williams. I think it was actually part of the trailer from Hard Knocks, but this speech got me real excited. But I did want to, let's talk about a couple other things first. Most intriguing position, pulled this stuff from random articles that I thought were interesting. Linebackers, most intriguing position. Second-year linebacker Derek Barnes is in a fight with 27-year-old veteran Chris Board. Those two are splitting first-team reps right now pretty evenly. Rookie Malcolm Rodriguez also keeps getting better behind them. He'll get his shot with the top defense at some point here soon. The linebacking core. So it sounds like Anzalone is, and I kind of mentioned him as a potential surprise cut candidate. It sounds like that is one of the worst takes of all time, because it doesn't sound like it's even an option for him to lose his job in camp. So, again, I said it more as it'd be a good problem to have if Anzalone gets passed, but it sounds like they're going to let this guy be the true leader of this linebacking core and be the voice of the defense. So I probably should get used to it. Similar to should I get used to Larkin being the captain of the Red Wings, whether I like it or not.
We'll start hitting that delete button. We'll give you a few mulligans here and there.
Right?
We got you.
Perfect. Malcolm Rodriguez was mentioned, so I did want to pull up another thing from a different article that I found. Rookie linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez continues to impress me. He has great instincts for a young player. He diagnoses things happening in front of him quickly and then just goes. He blew up a screenplay. and had a tackle for a loss in a team period Monday. That was from Tim Twentyman. Dan Campbell on Josh Reynolds, moving over to the offensive side of the ball here. He's different now. He's a different athlete. He's slippery. So I'm just going to kind of, I can't read this guy's quotes. Not that I can read anybody's quotes, but I can't read his quotes. They're just so difficult. So I'm just going to kind of pick and choose what I read. But
Think
basically,
like Dan.
he's I bet you John could probably nail a Dan Campbell, but we'll let him work on that one. He's different now. He's a different athlete. He's slippery. I call him the praying mantis. He's a spider of death. He's just there's something about him, freaking serpent. So I love where he's at right now. I really do. I'm glad we got him. And look, I'm not going to expect Josh Reynolds to come in and be an absolute stud in this league, anything like that. He was a massive upgrade for what we had last year. Massive. When he came in, everything changed. Goff's trusted him. So I find Josh Reynolds very interesting, especially with the depth in this wide receiver room. Just something to really keep an eye on. And jump in if you guys have anything that you want to say about it.
I think we need to put a poll up soon and ask our listeners who they think is the weirder coach between Dan Campbell and Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, jeez. Different type of weird for sure.
Two weird guys.
You got a lot of weird in those.
Pick your nose, bite your kneecap. What do you want?
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because you got Jim Harbaugh, who's like weird, awkward old man.
Quirky, too.
Right? Yeah.
So
and then you
quirky.
have Dan Campbell, who's weird meathead man. You know what I mean? Like that's at least the persona we get of it. And
for sure.
I look, I say that with love. I mean, I don't think meatheads are meathead. But like, I feel like he has adopted what I think he's way smarter than what he puts on. I really do.
Yeah, then his personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a very smart football player. I think he's a very smart football coach.
X's and O's guy, players guy, player friendly, and he's gonna say it how it sounds in his head. He's not gonna give you the interview that you want. He's not gonna, He's also not Bill Belichick, where he's just gonna sit back.
Yeah, dude,
we're on to next week. Like,
it's funny how much he controls the interview. He controls everything. I heard him on with the morning show this morning on 97.1 The Ticket. It was just insane. They talk to him like they're buddies. It's so different than what you're used to in the NFL, and I think that's the most concerning thing is we've never seen this work in the NFL. So. It probably won't work. Like the odds are against us in that way, but at the same time, it just feels like it might be a change of the guard. And I like the assistant coaches are more important, I think, in a lot of ways too. So I don't know, just fun. Oh, I do have another defensive thing, but I did read that Aiden Hutchinson had his welcome to the NFL moment. Padded practice today. It was early in practice during a team period that Hutchinson got that moment. He was lined up on the edge, ready to face Sewell, and wasn't looking for the chip that tight end T.J. Hawkinson provided. It put Hutchinson on his butt, and after the chip, Hawkinson went across the formation to catch a pass on the play. He said, I suspect Hutchinson will be looking for the chip next time Hawkinson lines up in the line next to the tackle. That was from Tim Twentyman. So I feel like that's everybody's interested about Jameson Williams, and I'm curious what you guys think. Like, if you would, which one are you most excited to look at? I think it's fair to say Mike is going to say Aiden Hutchinson because you have that connection with Michigan. But like, I think I bet you if you shot all of like Detroit Lions fans up with truth serum, whether they're Michigan fans or not, they'd probably be more intrigued with Jameson Williams out of the two rookies. And I'm not saying that as a slight to Aiden Hutchinson. I just feel like it was like we're gonna get a edge guy. We knew what we were gonna get with an edge guy, but then when we did what we did to go up and get Jameson Williams, it's just like, ooh, offense. Like you get all excited. Like that gets you a little more movement in the pants than a defensive end, right?
Yeah. Well, if Jameson wasn't hurt, it would be probably darn near 50-50 with a lot of fans. Like, you have two positions you're dying to have an absolute superstar at for the last couple of years. someone at edge that you've lacked for a long time, and an absolute stud at wideout ever since Calvin left. You know, like, could Jameson be your Calvin? Maybe, but that would be kind of a disserviceable statement towards Calvin.
And they're different type of wide receivers, too. So it's a little different.
But I didn't mean any disrespect by that. But, you know, you're looking for these two guys to be absolute studs at their respective positions. So you'd have a 50-50, like, hey, you know, you'd have a lot of defensive, like, hard-nosed people going, man, I just can't wait to see Aiden and just see how he just tears through the NFC North. And then you'd also have the offensive guys that just love anything with scoring points and have that flashy kind of Justin Jefferson type guy on the offensive side of the ball. Just got that swag, you know?
Yeah. So I'm more intrigued by Jameson Williams. I am, because of the offensive side of the ball. But I think Aiden Hutchinson being successful is more important than Jameson Williams being successful in this league. And I say that because a defensive end, game wrecker, a stud game wrecker like Aiden Hutchinson can change a defense quickly. It can make the defense go from bad to good very quickly because pressure on the quarterback is everything. Now, I'm still of the opinion that a wide receiver is a dime a dozen. Unless you have a top 5 wide receiver, a lot of the time they're all the same. And you can find ways to make them work whether they're studs or not.
You think so?
I do. Oh, yeah. I'm still under that. And that doesn't mean I'm mad about the trade up and taking Jameson Williams, but I just think a defensive end like that Aiden Hutchinson's supposed to come in and be is way more important, because if Jameson Williams doesn't work out, you can cut ties with him. You can draft another one. You can bring in another one. You can always bring in more wide receivers that can work. Now, when you don't have a quarterback, I understand that changes things, like the questions of Goff and stuff like that. But I'm just under the impression that if it doesn't work for Jameson Williams, it's not as big of a deal. We need Aiden Hutchinson to work out. We need him to succeed. And I'm not saying year one. I'm not saying come in and be a complete stud or anything like that right away. But I'm saying that cannot be a bust. Jameson Williams can be a bust-ish and it work out. You can find guys to replace them. Defensive ends are different, in my opinion.
I kind of disagree with you. I think Jameson Williams has to work out. It's just a matter of how many years in your mind you put on him working out. Like
until he works out, or
not until he works out.
How long he works?
How long he is? No, how many years you are going to have him as a stud wideout? Yeah, for what you spent on him, he has to work out. Like I get that you can keep drafting wideouts and keep drafting more wideouts. I get the whole quantity thing.
I don't even think it's drafting. I think it's just finding them.
Or paying or drafting or however you want to put it. I get what you're saying, but for someone that you spent that much draft capital on, you need them to work out, whether they have 3 to 5 absolutely monster years and then they kind of just start tailing off, or if they're someone reliable for 5 to 10 years. I think that's kind of the way I look at it.
I guess I would compare it to, let's look at Cleveland and the Raiders, for example. So Cleveland, Myles Garrett, absolute stud, not a miss. They've missed on so many wide receivers. Odell Beckham Jr., they brought him in. He left. All of those issues, like with wide receivers, it's just been a carousel. But their guarantee has been Myles Garrett, very successful. And then you go back to the Raiders as an example. I can't remember the name that just got in the wide receiver that got a DUI. Henry Ruggs. Drafted him pretty high, right? You need him to work out. Similar spot as I think Jameson Williams, top 15, I believe.
Yeah.
What'd they do? Well, he's gone. Right. He just left because of he's in prison or whatever. Mm-hmm. So what do? They go and trade for Devontae Adams.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can fix the wide receiver problem a little bit easier than you can fix a defensive end problem. That's where I'm like, defensive end, you got to go with the draft, because that's where you need that. You need that game record. You need him. You need control of him. Wide receiver, you can get control over these guys. We've seen so many wide receivers leave, get new contracts, be threatening trades, all that type of stuff, it happens a lot quicker. That's kind of my thing is wide receivers become more a dime a dozen because there's so much movement in that position. That, I guess, is where I'm at.
I think you also want to get the most you can out of your wide receivers on their rookie contracts because they're demanding higher numbers more than ever. It's the running back contracts that are the wayside. It's quarterbacks and wide receivers are getting the bills, and so
right.
I mean, I think Aiden Hutchinson instant impact maybe isn't as necessary as maybe Jamison Williams.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think Aiden Hutchinson will be a long-term Detroit Lion. I don't think he's going to be a guy that demands a trade or they give up on if he doesn't go out and pull out a let's say like a TJ Watt season or something.
Yeah. But a Jamison Williams, does he even want to be here in the first place? Like that question comes to mind.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like there's always already been those questions.
We were banking on Kenny Galladay,
Yeah.
He wanted out, and look where that got him. Daniel Jones. I don't know. I'm pulling for Jamison Williams mostly because I want to see Goff have a full weaponry to play with this year. That's our only chance at winning games. Our defense needs to keep us in games, but we got to score some points.
Is there an update on his timetable?
So it's been very, very quiet. So he's on the non-football injury PUP list, I believe. So, but they haven't made any decisions. I keep hearing he's gonna start on the inactive list where he'll miss the first 7 games. Yeah, something along those lines. Which I do want to use that as a future topic here. Is like, and this is something I'm gonna say it now so I don't forget it, but. Do we want him just to be put on that list so we're not like wondering if he's ever going to come back? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just put him on the list so we know what week he can come back, rather than week 1 is he going to play? Oh no, he's not going to play. Week 2 is he going to play? No, he's not going to. You know what I mean? Like that. I feel like if they can put him on a list where he can't play until X, then it'll end that controversy. You know what I mean?
There's obviously nothing worse than bringing a guy back too early from a significant injury like he's dealing with. Top that off with giving your fan base a little bait on a hook.
Yeah.
That could be disastrous for us Detroit Lions fans that have dealt with a lifetime of agony and despite.
We did talk about Goff a little bit, so some comments coming out about him.
Oh, I love golf.
No, not the golf, not Live Golf Tour, the Jared Goff tour that we're facing here. But basically some comments about him. He's on target. Quarterback Jared Goff had a good practice overall. This was today, and he was especially sharp in a 11-on-11 series with the first teams matched against each other. So first team defense against first team offense. Goff completed all 5 passes. He finished it off with a deep shot to wide receiver Josh Reynolds down the right sideline. That was from Mike O'Hara. So I do have... All right. Last little quote here, but I think we got to do the video. Because I tried reading this out loud, and it was garbage. And the video is edited for language, which is really good. So I hope this comes in pretty good. John, can we get that video up? And so let's just let it play out, and then we can talk about how excited it gets me and you guys as general. But go ahead.
We can only challenge each other. Everybody here, we challenge each other. Offense and defense is the best competition we're going to get. Iron sharper iron. It's going to be easy in the game because we're going against each other. I see too many dogs out here. Offense, we got too many dogs. Defense, we got too many dogs. We're going to keep going. We're going to fight and let people know, don't put up. We the Lions. Whatever they think they know about, they don't know. Every time we go in the game, we're going to lock them, keep gate, and let them know you stuck with us. Because we about to bury your ass.
So I believe that's from a trailer for Hard Knocks. And oh my gosh, I'm getting so excited for Hard Knocks. Listening to stuff like that. Now, sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something?
Oh, I believe I might have to go to church after hearing that.
Right, yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, right. That was pretty... profanity laced.
Well, if you can just fill the gaps, with your mind.
Wait, all right, real quick. Tarek Skubal left tonight's game with left arm fatigue.
He ain't hitting the market.
Yeah, I was gonna say something because he only pitched 6 innings and he was clean.
I missed that.
And guys were not even close to making contact with the ball.
So is it left arm fatigue or is it pretty damn good offer on the table.
70-some pitches. Yeah, they probably watched him just throwing a gem in Minnesota.
Curious about that.
Yeah, where's he going to go? Atlanta?
No, we're going to get into the draft or the trade primer here soon. But, man, what that – and look, again, I get it. Everybody says these things. I'm not going to get too excited. But Jamal Williams is perfect for what this regime is trying to do. Dan Campbell needs somebody to filter it out and do it on the field, do it with a jersey on. Jamal Williams is his guy. It's not going to be Jared Goff. It's not going to be anybody on defense. Okuda can't go do it. Aiden Hutchinson can't do it because he's a rookie. You don't have anybody on the defensive side that can be like, get on my back, like, this is what we're going to do, blah, 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 blah.
Listen.
Yeah, that is Jamal Williams' job, and whatever he's getting paid, double it just to make sure that it's going on, because it is totally worth having him on there for that reason only. And I truly believe he believes in it, and I think that's the key.
Dude's a leader, and I told you that from the day
you
he
did.
was acquired him.
Yep, you were right on with that.
How do you feel about it, Micah, not having him around? You know,
well, I mean, he's
I
got
miss
two good
him, of
guys,
course.
though.
I miss the guys just like – so put it this way. I think Jamal Williams might be the most, like, quirky – running back in the league, you know, from watching guys talk, you know, and he has unparalleled positivity. And I think for a team and a regime and a city like Detroit, like, you can't ask for a better spokesperson, we'll put it, than Jamal Williams. Like, anyone would be so happy to have him on their team.
No, I agree completely. I think he is perfect for what this team needs. Whether he's a great running back or not, that doesn't matter. That speech right there gets fans pumped. That is, look, and some of the quotes here that really got me excited.
No swearing.
We're gonna fight and let the people know. Don't F with us. We the Lions. Love that, first of all. But then he does it even better here. He goes, whatever they think they know about us, they don't know us. Every time we go into a game, we're going to lock the effing gates and let them know. You're stuck with us because we're about to bury your A. Like, that just reminds me of just like like a bar fight almost. You know what I mean? Like a movie style bar fight. It's like
Old Western.
You guys got people coming in. It's like, we're locking those doors. You think you're coming in here to mess with us? We're gonna lock these doors, and we're gonna mess with you, and you ain't getting out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that is like the attitude that Detroit needs. That's the attitude that I think Dan Campbell's trying to been preaching, or has been preaching. Like, look, we need to make it a fight. Whether we're gonna go in and win one way, or make it a fight. And I think we saw that over the last several games. It was a fight. They were battling their butts off, even when they were getting smoked. I think we had a couple games that was just like, where is the effort and fight? But for the most part, they did it, and it seems like it's translating really well. And I think Jamal Williams is a perfect guy, because he's not the guy that's going to go out there and put up all these points and stuff.
No.
Every time he touches the ball, he's going to go hard, but he is there to just he's preaching it.
The dude has
and
so
it's
much heart,
important.
it's insane.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I don't think he's like going to be the guy that gets in one individual player's space and like tries to embarrass him.
Yeah.
But he's going to get the whole core, whether it's a wide receiving core, tight end core, line core, defense. He's going to get everybody together and buy into whatever it is he's got to say.
Yeah.
He'll get your offense
The thing is, like, don't F with us, we the Lions. That sounds like a complete joke. Nobody walks into Detroit and be like, oh, great, we're facing the Lions.
Can't mess with those guys.
But when he says, whatever they think about us, they don't know. They don't know us. They don't know what they're dealing with, because we're at a different level. Now, will it come to fruition? Probably not. I'm getting all excited. It's still fun.
Just keep your legs crossed.
I'm getting real uncomfortable. My paper's moving on its own. I don't know what's going on. No, but it's just getting me really, really excited.
Well, we got something better to work with than Dan Campbell's bite your kneecaps last year. So at least we got a player that we can
the kneecaps thing.
Root for.
No, but I was gonna kind of get into is the playoffs a real potential? But I think I've gone long enough on the Lions. I don't want to move on. I'm gonna save this for a different day. Maybe next week we'll get into that.
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
All right, so we are talking Tigers, unfortunately, and I feel like we're gonna have to talk about them next week after the trade deadline. But I did want to do a little bit of a trade deadline primer here. But first, starting with how it's been going, they're sitting here 21 games under 500. On July 8th, they won 6 straight, and I think we all just kind of had that thought, like, all right, is this the turning point? Is like not that they're going to go win the division, not that they're going to go make the playoffs, but is it going to be a year that we saw last year? It was like terrible start, awful start, can't get out of it, obviously. But is this a turning point that we're going to just be like, ooh, all right, here's the little bit of what if? You know what I mean? Like the bad start is the issue here, and something to build off of.
Show us something.
Yeah.
Show us something.
Exactly. So they won 6 straight. They finished the month of July going 5-15.
Oh.
They're now 13 back in the division, 13.5 back in the wild card.
That's good, right?
I just saw this, and I'm like, the trade deadline is tomorrow. So tomorrow's the end of the season,
6
right?
p.m.
Tomorrow's the end of the season for the Tigers.
Oh.
For us to care.
Oh,
So
yeah.
here we are. We got football ramping up. We're all excited about football. We're going to have so much to talk about. In my opinion, what we're watching right here, this is probably the last game that matters. Tomorrow will be the last important day for the Tigers this season.
Downhill, crash, and burn.
At least until they decide what they're going to do with Al Avila. Get
Yep.
rid of Izzy. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yep.
should get Jamal Williams on here so he can say what stuff that I won't.
You beat me to it.
Like, let's get
I was preparing that.
let's get that out here, man. We need Jamal on here.
We locking the door,
Yeah.
and we're beating you down.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jamal, Jarrett just commented too that Justin Jackson was picked up by the Lions today.
Justin Jackson?
Was he a running back for the Chargers or something maybe back in the day? Last year?
Honestly, that name doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah.
I did not even hear that. So
But he thinks that
thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, he thinks that Jamal he said I could see him getting cut during Hard Knocks. Thanks, Jarrett.
What?
See,
Wait, who?
It was an interesting one to me that he might become a cut candidate, but then you see the way that he's the leader. I don't think they cut a guy like that. I think they'd be quicker to get rid of like a Jamar Jefferson or, Khalif Raymond. Like they have other guys that they can get rid of to keep a guy like Jamal Williams.
You were not cutting Jamal Williams. Sorry.
I was right.
I don't think it's the biggest
That is
surprise ever.
hilarious.
I don't think it would be the biggest surprise ever because is value. Yeah, we're done. We're moving on. I wouldn't be shocked either way. That's kind of where I'm at. Other than the fact that it seems like Jamal Williams is such a good leader. That's the one thing that I think he's holding on. And maybe he's just pretending to be so he doesn't get cut. I don't know how that works, but I've had those guys in my day. They're like, I'm a leader, but look at me. No, you're really not that good. Get out of here. You guys remember
boy.
Travis Nickel? No, I'm just kidding. I did. Oh,
Nick, baby.
I'm kidding, Trav. I'm kidding. You know I love you. If you
Nothing but love.
But if he doesn't, this is his test. Travis, if you're listening, if you actually listen to this, say something to me. If not, I know you're not a true friend.
Say something. Do something.
Text me. Show up for softball for once. That'd be great.
Oh.
But anyways, I just I look at this as the end of the Tigers season, other than just the fact that we're rooting for them to either get rid of Avila, well, definitely get rid of Avila, and kind of tank. Like, I'm at a point here, it's like, all right, you're really bad, but you're not bad enough yet. So let's get really, really bad and start boosting our draft stock. I'm getting close to that. I really am.
So tank again and rebuild again.
With somebody else making the decisions. Please, oh, please, oh, please.
Hey, Theo? Mr. Epstein, are you available?
Yeah, right.
Would you like to come over and spend some money?
Here's a blank check. Do whatever the heck you want.
Come on over.
Lock the doors and we'll... Never mind.
Lock the doors and we're going to spend money.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I was just... before we get into the trade side of it, I did want to, what else is worth paying attention to? And if you guys have any, I would love to know what you guys think. But my first one, I got a few here. And if you guys have one or want to jump in, go right ahead. My first one was Austin Meadows. Is he going to even come back and play? Sore Achilles, I'm sorry, but play, dude.
Sam's like, tear it.
he's not going to tear an Achilles. I'm sorry, Rob, for that you tore an Achilles during softball, but like, I'm sorry, these guys are athletes, and don't tell me that this Achilles is still bothering you, or both Achilles. Like, how do you hurt two Achilles? How do you strain two Achilles unless you're out of shape or just not taking care of yourself? And that's
Clearly,
what I really want to know is, like, so he's arbitration 2 available, which means the Tigers still have control for him. But if he wanted to be here, would he be playing right now? Like, what would be changing? Like,
That's a good question.
Like, I'm not saying that he's going to come in and change what the Tigers are doing. He's not that good.
No. Nope.
But he'd fill a massive hole that we're facing. So, like, it seems like if he wanted to be here, he would be. And he's not. So I'm just raising that flag, like, does he want to be? Going on to that.
Is there
Erod.
another? I was going to say, is there another person?
Like, what in the world's going on? It sounds like we finally got in contact with him last week for the first time in 2.3 years or something like that. I don't even know. He was ghosting him for a while. I get ghosted by Kyle and Ryan all the time. Sometimes John, when he allegedly is up north, and
so you know what the
ignoring my
Tigers are
text
going
messages.
through.
Yeah, I get it. It's a tough feeling. I don't like it. But, I mean, I'm used to getting ghosted usually by friends, not women, because my wife, I mean, I don't text any other girls, so, like, I don't know what that's like.
Good save.
I mean, what is going on in that situation? Is he going to come back and pitch this year? Does he want to come back and pitch? Is this his way to get out of Detroit and be like, whoa, I made a massive mistake? Like, what in the world is going on? I want to know what's going on.
But, like,
I'm intrigued by that.
There is no way on God's green earth this professional pitcher comes back and starts pitching again. I mean, you've missed how much of the year?
Even if he comes back, they're gonna have to, like, stretch him out to shut him down. I mean, like, what is gonna happen? Like,
my man, were you at Disney World? Like, did you go on like a cruise and just not come back?
Allegedly
like,
trying to save his marriage, so he's probably, who knows why, I think at Target or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
that's what I
Hanging
would
out
do
in the parking lot for like 3 months.
If I ever had marriage issues, I'd be like, hey, do you want to go to Target? Might help.
Oh my goodness.
Here's my credit card. Please just do whatever you need. No, I'm just kidding.
I've maxed this one out and this one. I need another.
Yeah. Look, the AJ Hinch thing is so intriguing to me. I know there's the unknown of the opt-out, no opt-out. Originally, there was an opt-out at the end of this year. Al Avila came out and said that there wasn't. I don't know who to believe, but it's so intriguing to me. I can't figure it out, and I feel like he wants out of this place so badly because of what's going on, and I feel like he's going to put the owner's feet to the fire and be like, look, we need to change.
That's where I'm at.
The biggest change is Al Avila. And if you're not willing to move on from him, I'm going to find a way out of this place so fast.
So what are the chances that AJ Hinch went behind Al Avila's back, got a hold of the Illiches, Chris, and said, hey, something's got to change or I'm out, exactly like you said. Put his feet to the fire, something's changing or I'm gone. I just won't, honest to God, just won't even show up to work.
Man,
I won't show up to work.
Look, I feel like what AJ Hinch has done the last year and a half has proven he's a good manager. Obviously he's not coaching the Astros right now, but he is a perfect coach to fill any of the openings that happens, either that is already open and has an interim coach, or that opens here in the offseason. It's like I just feel like this is such a disaster. And I feel like AJ Hinch is the one that I'm most concerned to lose.
So, in your opinion, how do you save the upcoming offseason going into next year?
The only way...
I will tell you what I think in just a second.
I think the only way you can save it is by removing Al Avila as the general manager.
Yep.
And let AJ Hinch be part of the conversation of who he wants to be the new general manager. Now, I know that can get tricky. Now, but I'm sure he has somebody that he would love to work for. And is he available? Is he not? Like, all of these things kind of play a role. But let him be part of the process, because everybody knows when a new GM comes in, they hire his coach. or manager, all of that type of stuff.
Right.
It gets milky. And people get fired, and it's crazy. You don't want to go through that. So if you want AJ Hinch, if the Ilitches trust AJ Hinch the way that I think most of the fans do, some are still skeptical, and I get that. I get their worry because of what we've been watching. But
he's been given nothing to work with.
he hasn't. And if you trust him, then give him the opportunity to bring in somebody that he will continue to coach for or manage for.
Right.
That's my opinion. What were you
So
gonna say?
what I was going to say kind of goes hand in hand with you. It just kind of, we're going to put the the cart after the horse, and you spend money.
You
go
real
get your
money.
GM.
Real
Exactly.
money.
You go get your GM, and I'm sorry, but you have to then go buy numerous players that fit what the team needs.
I say bring Dave Dombrowski back.
Oh. Ooh.
Funny you say that.
Oh, baby.
Your mic's on.
Yeah, Jarrett just commented he wanted 10 seconds of this segment. A lot of young
perfect.
guns for the Tigers. Would you want Dombrowski back to
Yup.
trade a ton of them away and deplete the farm system for some great talented veterans and go all in for a World Series? Question mark. If you don't get it, you need a full rebuild again, but there's the better chance to win a World Series. Dombrowski's proven it's a dang good way to get to the playoffs and be a force. Downfall is no farm system. I love it because it got the Red Sox some titles, and it's the best way. Oh, and it's the best the Tigers have been in ages when they probably should have won a World Series.
So
That's the Kona talking.
first of all, I love that idea of bringing back Dombrowski. The thing that I would disagree with Jarrett is I don't think you have to trade these assets to bring in true blue players. Now, you got guys like Juan Soto on the market. You're going to have potentially Aaron Judge. That you have these players that you might have to Ohtani and all that you might have to trade for. Which I would give up some assets for them. But the Tigers have still a below average payroll in a top 5 market.
Terribly.
That when they're bringing in 3 million plus fans, they're not losing money by any means. You can go out and spend money to continue to build that core alongside of this young core. Now, when I see that this team's a piece away, then trade your 3 best prospects for a prove-it-now guy, a guy that has proven it and the guy that's been there and that can make you the championship team that I think Dombrowski built with the Tigers and unfortunately didn't work with the Red Sox. That I think he did a great job with the Red Sox. Yeah, he screwed them over with the, depleting the farm system, but they bounced back quicker than the Tigers did. They're better than the Tigers, and the Tigers have been in this scenario for 7 years. So I don't think it needs to take as long as it has for the Tigers, first of all, because they're quote-unquote depleted farm system. I just think you have multiple ways to skin a cat here. You can do it through free agency. You can do it through a trade here and there, and it doesn't have to be depleting completely. But I'm all for giving me true blue MLB guys with free agency first, and then bring in the trades at the trade deadline when you're missing that specific piece or player that can put you above and beyond. That's my opinion.
Do you think our fans or listeners know what it takes as far as money, payroll-wise, to win?
Probably not. I would guess they don't realize that money is what is winning the championships in MLB.
So let's put it this way. Our payroll right now, what would you guess it's at? I mean, just ballpark it.
Okay. 30 plus, let's say 50, so we're at 80, and then I would round it out with, I would say 135 to 145.
Okay. 138. Okay. 138. All right.
Wow, I am good. Just tied it up.
We're sitting middle of the pack.
Yeah, I would say it's probably 17th.
Middle of the pack. Look at the product on the field. Look how bad this is.
Yeah.
Okay. So then your top 3 payrolls, okay, real quick.
Can I guess?
Yeah, let's do this.
Dodgers number 1.
Yep.
Yankees number 2.
Nope.
Mets number 2.
Yep.
Yankees number 3.
Yep.
And then I would guess, let's say, I don't know if the Braves, because they moved on from Freeman, but I think they're still pretty high. But I'm not going to go Braves. Should I go Braves at 4?
No.
Oh. All right, you go from there.
No, Philly,
Okay, yep.
San Diego, and
that
then
makes sense.
Chicago White Sox.
Yeah. how's
Okay,
that going for you?
and listen, there is a stark difference from L.A. to Chicago.
Yeah.
L.A. is at 261.
261?
261.
That's over 200 million more than probably that league average, isn't it?
The league average is
Probably
147 million.
But like, what's the median? The median's, I think, more important than the average.
I don't have that. But listen, the Mets are sitting at 260,
Jeez.
Yankees at 256, Phillies at 234, San Diego at 213, and Chicago sitting at 196.
That's insane.
Massive difference from 1 to 5.
I'd be curious of what
Or
the
6,
average
sorry.
is of all of the teams after that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not asking you. I'm not going to ask you to do that.
For you.
I would love to. I'm going to dig into that at some point, and if it's worth talking about, I will. But
And then you got Baltimore at 43, Oakland at 45.
Royals at 52, probably. They're higher. I guess they have
94.
94. Okay. It's first of all, it's a problem with the MLB.
Big problem.
I have
Big
my ways
problem.
of fixing that. We're not getting into that today. But I mean, it's bad. It's frustrating that the Tigers, who I would argue is in a top 5 market, they have fans that show up. You deserve to. You should be putting your ownership feet to the fire and saying you should be spending more. Now, they went out and spent some money. How has that worked for them? Baez, worst defender in baseball right now. Eduardo Rodriguez, for worst husband in baseball. No, sorry, that was probably a low blow. But he's not even here because he's trying to fix his marriage, allegedly, is what we're being told. So it's just that's who Avila went and spent his money on. That's the root of the problem. Is Avila sucks.
Yep.
Fire him. # fire Al Avila. A couple other things real quick. Torkelson in the minors, not going well. Very interesting that I'm waiting for that to flip. So he's in 9 games, 39 plate appearances, 36 at-bats, 6 hits. He's hitting 167 in Toledo. Not good. So keep an eye on that. And I was gonna this was more for Ryan, was to ask if there's anyone else in the minors that I think we should be keeping an eye on that could get a call up. I'll go
Save
over
that for next week.
I'll go over a couple though. Yeah, I guess I could say that for next week because we're gonna be talking Tigers and the trade deadline.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
I'm sorry, I'm still supposed to be talking Tigers. I did not mean to transition there. I did want to talk about some of the
Just
names.
needed a break.
Yeah. It was just a bumper so I could get a little drink here. Sorry, the Tigers trade deadline stuff that's being talked about. Michael Fulmer is a big name. This is something that I found. The Blue Jays are one of the teams showing interest in Tigers reliever Michael Fulmer, who just gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th, so not too good there. According to MLB.com's John Morosi, the former AL Rookie of the Year revived his career with 2 strong years as a relief pitcher, and is a neutral trade trip for the struggling Tigers since Fulmer is scheduled for free agency after this year. Toronto's bullpen has been generally solid but somewhat inconsistent, and Fulmer would help reinforce the high-leverage innings in front of the all-star closer Jordan Romano. I think Fulmer, he seems like a must-move, along with Andrew Chafin, who is 32 and has been one of the best relievers in quietly solid Tigers bullpen, pitching to a 2.53 ERA with a 29.3 strikeout rate, a 7.5% walk rate, and 49.4 ground ball rate. He's playing the current season on a $5.5 million salary and has $6.5 million player option for the 2023 season. that barring an injury or unexpected collapse, he seems likely to reject in favor of a return to free agency and another potentially more lucrative multi-year deal. I feel like those two alone right there are must moves. I don't care what you get back. Find a way to make something of it.
Yep.
Now, we ran into the chafing thing with the vaccine. Can he pitch in Toronto? No. But I don't think people care about that necessarily because I don't think they look at Toronto as a true contender that they're going to face in the playoffs and they need to have this guy. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's necessarily going to be an issue when it comes to the trade market here for Chafin. But I don't know. Do I want Avila to be part of this trade deadline? No. But he is. Here we are. He needs to make these decisions, these trades. Move these guys either way. I'm sorry. They're expiring contracts for the most part, based on what I read. Get something for them. You're not going to get the world, obviously. You don't have anything that people want, but this is something that you can get something for.
This is what real GMs do.
Yeah, they trade just for the sake of trading.
Yep.
And I don't expect Avila to win a deal. I don't. But what I expect is to get something in return so these guys don't just walk and you just move on from them. That's basically where I'm at. A couple other names that are interesting: Gregory Soto, Joe Jimenez, Alex Lang. This is what I read. At the very least, it seems fair to expect Fulmer and Chafin to be on the move in the coming days. At least that's what a good GM would do. As both can hit free agency. Jimenez, controlled through 2023 season via arbitration, has a decent chance as well. Lang, 5 seasons of remaining club control, and closer Gregory Soto, 3 seasons, would surely require larger returns. Avila should not be making a decision on guys with control. And that's where I'm just mostly disappointed with the fact that this hasn't been changed yet. And I hope that Illich went in and put handcuffs on this you-know-what and said, do not touch anything that we have control of. Let the next GM control this. And I hope that he's done it. I hope that they're ready to do it. Like, they need to pull the plug. If they don't, I'm just going to my mind will be absolutely blown if that's going. Same with Tarek Skubal. Do not trade you. I don't trust Avila to make this trade. Nobody should trust Avila to make this trade and get a legitimate return. So he should not have the ability to move these guys, period, end of story. Now, the fact that he started today tells me that, hey, they wouldn't have started him today if they had a good offer on the table, if there was real potential of trading him. I think something's happening behind the scenes. I think that they put the handcuffs on this guy, and it's like, you can trade 2 players, everything else comes to us, and we will make the decision. You don't make any decisions outside of just move these guys and get something in return. You know what I mean? It feels like it has to be that case, right?
Correct.
You cannot let this guy make it a decision for the future based on where he's at in his tenure and where he's at in his like all of these things. It should not be even
history
a conversation.
Speaks for itself. Do not let history repeat itself.
Yeah. And another couple other questions that I had is could Meadows draw some interest? Probably not because of the injuries, but if he just doesn't want to play in Detroit, maybe.
Then let him go.
And then Grossman, I feel like, is either going to get DFA'd or traded for peanuts. I don't know. Are we short on peanuts here? Is that like one of the... How's the like flow of peanuts going? Is there any issues like with the... What's the word I'm looking for? When like everything's a backlog. Oh my gosh, I can't think right now.
Back order?
Yeah, like
what?
Are peanuts on? Like what's the? Oh my gosh, I can't think right now.
Layaway?
No.
What?
I'm trying to think of like the industrial side of it. So like supply chain. How's the supply chain doing on peanuts? Like, could we use a bag or two? That's what I'm trying to get. And if I didn't have to explain it, if I could have been quicker on my feet, I think it would have hit better. But like,
Kyle, where are you at?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he just said the Yankees look strong this year again tonight,
oh.
so his auto message is on.
Yeah, that's good. Good to know. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting day tomorrow. I'll be like refreshing my browser, listening to Tiger or like listening to Detroit Sports Talk constantly, just trying to know what's going to happen, and just terrified that he's going to make a terrible, terrible decision. That's basically where I'm at. I don't know what to expect. I think it's as everybody's guess is as good as mine at this point. Who knows what's going to happen?
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
Supply chain. Yeah, supply chain. BettingHero.com. For the people that are interested in the sports betting world, which football season right around the corner. If you haven't bet yet, maybe wait and use one of those big promos that are coming up here when football season starts going. You got the Hall of Fame game on Thursday. You guys going to watch that?
Isn't it earlier than what it normally is?
It feels early, but I'm okay with it. I am so excited for football.
Wow.
I had Easton talking to me today. He goes, Dad, when do the Lions play? It's around my birthday, right? I'm like, well, that's regular season, but a week from Friday.
Who's in the Hall of
game.
Fame game this year?
I think it's Raiders and Jags. Is that correct?
Raiders.
The Raiders. I believe it is. I could be wrong. But you know what that means? We got our picks coming soon. Like, we got this thing
baby.
rolling, guys. Like, this is going to be easy peasy here soon.
Who was the champ last year? The picks.
I don't remember. Do you remember? Was it you? Is that why you're bringing it up?
I just wondered.
I honestly don't remember. Was it you?
Yeah.
It was?
I hope it was.
Sure there was. We don't. It's funny how we do these things and we never actually have anything on the line. Like, we're just like, oh, the winner is today, Micah.
You know what? Ryan does owe us for fantasy.
He does. Yeah, that's a whole nother
We had a 4-man fantasy, just loaded teams. And he took the back seat. I didn't think he'd take the back seat, to be honest.
Yeah, but the sports betting world is out there, and there's so many different platforms you can jump on. If you don't know where to go to bettinghero.com, promo code MIBETS. You sign up. What it does is it lays out all the best promos available in the sports betting world on all the different apps. Nice thing is you can sign up for one, get the promo, have some fun, withdraw all your winnings, and then withdraw into a new one, get a nice promo from that one. If you just go to all these different sites, they're literally giving away free money. They'll give away free money once the football season starts. Just be ready for that. Again, bettinghero.com, promo code MIBETS. One thing that I've really enjoyed on one of the platforms is Dinger Tuesday. What it is you put $25 on someone to hit a home run, right? Pretty simple. You usually get, anywhere plus 280. You can get up to plus 600. A lot of these guys, you can pick a flyer or you can pick the most obvious ones. But the nice thing is the $25. What you got to do is you got to opt into this thing, and then every home run that's hit in that game, you get $5 back too. So if you hit 5 home runs in the game, you get $25. Either way, you get your money back, which is great. So I like to find a place that's very home run friendly, and then pick a pretty good one. So I have 2 here, and I'll let you guys pick which one we're going to go against here. So the easy one seems to be the easiest one in the book. Aaron Judge at home in New York, easy home run ballpark, is against the Mariners. But Logan Gilbert is a solid pitcher. I think he's 10 wins, so he's got some good numbers. Doesn't give up a ton of home runs, so that one's a little concerning. It seems like that could fall in line with a nice low-scoring game, so it doesn't fit all right, if Judge doesn't hit one, you're not going to make your money because you're only going to hit maybe 1 or 2 home runs in that game. But then Mookie Betts for the Dodgers at the Giants against Alex Wood. That one, I like the opportunity of quantity in that game more. Obviously, I think Judge has better chance than Mookie, but I don't know. Where would you guys go in this situation? Would you go the money back potential or the guarantee? Not guaranteed, it's never a guarantee, but the more likely Judge to hit a home run?
Isn't Aaron Judge on pace to beat Barry Bonds single?
He's not going to hit 74. I think he's on pace for 65.
I thought they had the same number of home runs through this point of the season.
Was it really?
Is he at 42 right now?
I think he's at 42, yeah. So it might have jumped over the last couple of days. If he hit 4 this past week and then I didn't know about, it might have changed. But I thought he was more on pace for 65.
I like seeing home run balls get hit in San Francisco, especially if you can hit one out in the water.
Oh, I love that. That's one of the coolest things.
But the
splash hits.
corners are pretty short there, right?
Yeah, they are.
Field. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably go, yeah.
Would you go Mookie?
Yeah, Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers
Giants,
to hit a
Mookie
few, and the
Betts,
Giants. Yeah.
So
You would too?
That's where I was
if,
going.
If Mookie hits one and 5 total home runs,
Yeah.
so you can win more.
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Okay,
so you
yeah.
get so like
I'd
let's
probably-
say
I'd probably go that
Mookie's at like plus 300s, right? So if you get the plus 300, a $25 bet, you get that winnings, and then every single home run that's hit, you get $5 back in free bets, which is solid as well. And I love the free bets; those are always fun because then
Because it's free.
It's free. Love free.
I'm not spending
Free,
any
free,
money
free.
on
Yeah.
this, honey.
Yeah, seriously. I swear to you, this is free stuff. What's going on? Mookie, it is.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. Hot, hot! This is State of My Sports.
All right, folks. Well, we're going to get to the beer grade here. So we're looking at Founders All Day Vacay, their session wheat ale. Like Sam said earlier, it's a 4.6% with 20 IBUs, 12 fluid ounces as per the usual. And this doesn't taste anything like All Day.
No,
It's completely different with
Yeah.
with a ton of wheat in there, and there's no bite. It's really smooth, and it's darn warm out here on the deck.
yeah.
And that tastes really good. You know, if we were drinking it and it was snowing out, I'd probably have a different mindset right now. But
Yeah.
what do you guys think?
All right, so a little more about it here. 4.6 alcohol, 20 IBUs. Like you said, not a whole lot of bite. But this is what they say on their website. You're going to need a bigger suitcase. All Day Vacay has arrived. Take a well-earned respite from the mundane. You have it up too?
Yeah.
You want to take it over? You got a better reading voice than I do.
Take a well-earned respite from the mundane and let the session wheat ale whisk you away with its slight summery sweetness. Say that 3 times fast.
Nope.
Complemented by delicate notes of citrus, whether it's a staycay or a vacay, it's the perfect companion for any type of adventure.
Yep,
Yeah.
so it's available April through August. So it is more of a summer beer.
Yep.
So it is seasonal. I didn't realize that it was seasonal. Did you know that?
I did.
You did. All right, you know everything.
Not really. No,
No,
I
but-
don't.
Look, I think that was the first time I had this, and I forget when I tried it. I think it was at the garage or Tin Can. I think I tried it there.
Yeah, probably.
But like all day, it has this mindset of the bitterness, the IPA style. Like it's tons of flavor. I think All Day IPA is one of the best beers for what it is. It's very easy to drink. It has everything you want. You know what I
Yep,
mean? Like
yep.
it's all there. When I heard All Day, like my mind goes there, and it's just another version of that. Where this being the wheat ale, it's exactly what a wheat ale is supposed to be. A very good wheat ale.
Right.
For the wheat ale drinkers compared to the IPA drinkers, like I'm sure they look at this and taste it and it's like, wow, this is
Like,
amazing.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, but again, when the All Day comes into mind, I'm just like, I've thought of something different. Second time around, when I'm more prepared for what I'm going to drink, way better. First time I drank it, I would be like, oh, no, I'm going to give that a bad grade. This time around, I'm like, tastes excellent. It is exactly what they say it is, and I don't know. I think they deserve a lot of credit for this one.
That was 100% my mindset because for the longest time, All Day was always easy to drink. You know, if you were going over to a friend's house and they offered you a beer and it was All Day, and you go, yeah, of course I'll have it all day.
I'll have
No
6 of them.
problem, you know.
Yeah.
And then you get to, you know, just a little bit, you know, different variation, the whole summer ideal of All Day Vacay, and you go, it's just not all day, you know.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be all day.
But the wheat, I think, is what makes it a non-all day.
Yep.
Right? Like that's wheat ales are harder to drink, I would say, rather than like the lightness of an IPA.
Yeah, it depends on who you are.
Yeah,
But-
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said, it's low on the alcohol percentage, and it's so easy to drink.
Yeah. John, what are your thoughts on this one, man?
I'm just looking at AJ Hinch out here reviewing this and trying to get a call.
Because he's running pretty.
Man, that is far. If you're the
He's-
runner.
yeah,
you're
he's in the
trying to-
grass.
Yeah, you're trying to be outside.
Can you not
but
challenge that?
I guess not. He had some choice words walking off, but kind of dirty.
Should get
but-
booted.
Oh no, very smooth. Same boat. I mean, I'm not. I love Founders All Day IPA.
Yeah.
It's a good, solid, and you get it anywhere, and it's pretty consistent. I've never had like a bad one.
Yeah.
But this is just almost too smooth. Dangerous. Yeah, very dangerous on a night like
Do you
tonight.
like white? So you're kind of an ale guy. Like you like,
I
Miller
love
Lite. And
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Miller Lite and
like the
sometimes-
lighter beers.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of your
the
go-to.
the cheaper
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
And this kind of tastes similar. Like this
Close,
is the comparison.
It's got a little
Yeah.
kick to it, and again, it's not heavy. It's not like any other craft beer that flirts with that line because it's still light.
What kind of grade would you give it?
Man, all right, let me swallow one more.
You're a loud drinker.
7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8,
7.8.
7, 8.
8.2.
7.9.
I was gonna go 9.
Well, you didn't.
I know.
I did better than you.
I'll take the criticism.
Would you agree with my grade or your grade?
Both. I have a friend that works. I have a friend that works there.
What a
so-
At Founders?
Yeah.
Oh, really? What does he do there?
He's like in the chemistry, like in the lab.
Oh, that's cool.
Really?
Yeah. He travels the world
Yeah.
learning beer.
I
Yeah.
bet.
Gets to go to a lot of cool events and stuff too. Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. How come we've never talked about that before?
Um.
We should have him on the podcast. Would you want to come on the podcast?
Man, he would teach us a lot about beer. and
Let's
the
do
brewing
it.
Do
You think
it.
we could
Do
go?
it.
I mean, he can come here. We can go there.
I could.
Can you maybe make that happen?
I could reach out to him. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a
Assignment,
while, but
assignment for John.
yeah. No, he was just over Germany.
Yeah.
For one of the beer festivals over there.
Oh,
not
not
Beer Fest,
Oktoberfest.
but-
Yeah.
Wait, are
Um,
him and Ryan traveling together?
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
man.
Denmark this week.
Come on.
Let me ask. Wade,
All right.
Wade, what are you doing?
So did we get any grade? Obviously, Jarrett forgot about his grade based on the percentage of the beer he was drinking.
His
I'm assuming.
his alcohol intake.
Yeah. But did we get any other grades coming
Just
in?
had one fly in on the fly, on the spot. Carrie from DeHop's again, having the DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe.
Thirsty Miner.
Thirsty Miner, 6.7 Brew IPA.
I do love that beer.
Really enjoyed the beer. She gave it an 8.1
8.1.
up there.
Very nice.
That's the one that was in the silver and green can, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We drank that there?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good beer.
Well, I think we graded it, when we were there. But, like, man, brutes and dries. We were at Arvon this past weekend, right?
Yeah, just picking up beer.
Picking up beer and
Yep.
taste testing, maybe. They had a dry ale, I think it was.
They did. Yeah. The Kiwi Crusher?
Yeah, the Kiwi Crusher. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Big fan. Love the dry beers right now. Like, they're just... It's getting to that fall. Like, man, dry it up a little bit. Oh, I was... So we came home from camping. I don't know if I shared this last week or not. But we came home from camping last week. Driving through, coming from up north area.
Did you stop?
No, we didn't stop anywhere. But because when I'm going home, I am going
I'm
home.
going home.
Nope. I am going home. Don't you tell me we have to stop. Everybody go to the bathroom before. Like, we are going the whole way, not stopping anywhere. I don't even look at other places. But, like, one thing that I was driving up home from up north, and I was just like, and I turned on the radio, and I thought I heard the Lions announcer. And then all of a sudden, like, all of it hit me at once. I'm like, I can't wait for fall and football season. Like, it was just like everything. Like, I started thinking about all of the great stuff that happens in the fall. Football season, we got beers and bikes maybe coming up. Like, I'm just like, I started thinking about all this stuff. I'm like, oh, then it gets cooler out, and we can hang out by out on the deck longer, and like it's comfortable, and it just gets no bugs. Like, I just got the fall itch, and I'm a big fan of summer. I don't want to like rush the summer away by any means, but man, I cannot wait for fall, and I cannot wait for football. I can't wait for it all. I'm ready. I am ready. I'm ready to lock up the pool, tell the kids no bathing suits for a while. Sorry, but we're doing it. Eason says to me, he goes, Dad, when we close up the pool, can we use the blow-up pool maybe on warm days?
You're like,
yep. Whatever, man. I don't give a crap. But anyways, I don't know why I went off on that little tangent there, but it is the way it works, right? But that was episode 167.
Something
167.
like
I mean, by the time we're at 170s, we could be close to football season. But thank you guys for recording tonight.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Ryan, suck it. Thank you all for watching and
You've been
listening. We'll
to
talk to you next
State
week,
of
if
My
not sooner.
Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions to the Tigers to the Pistons to Michigan and Michigan State and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.